Tonight on Sunday, a story of great courage and sacrifice. Two Kiwis, an electrician and a mathematician.
They were prepared to go to the absolute limit, to give their lives.
New Zealanders who helped change history.
When he was wounded, he propped himself up against a tree and continued to fire his gun.
That's heroism, isn't it?
Yeah.
All of a sudden my body's shut down.
When MS strikes.
It's better off me being dead than going through this.
But could there be hope?
It will change the quality of life to millions of people.
Revolutionary, controversial, unproven. But
you look healthy.
Good.
You're sexy again.
Oh, thank you.
It's not for the faint-hearted at all. I mean, they're massive risks.
settle down or make a movie.
We kind of blew all of that out of the water and just went, yes, making Western.
To follow their dream.
I'm picking the deposit on the house didn't go far.
You're right.
You're right.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Kia ora, I'm Miriam Makamo. Should the names Griff McLaurin and Steve Yates be added to our war memorials, to the cenotaphs? McLaurin and Yates are two unsung Kiwi war heroes who saw the threat of Hitler years before the rest of us. They went off to fight in the Spanish Franco War and they died there, anonymously. But what they did was not only incredibly brave, the Spanish say it helped change the course of history. Ian Sinclair uncovered their story.
A Spanish battlefield and an Anzac story like no other is about to unfold. Two Kiwis, Griff McLaurin and Steve Yates, are on a mission as heroic as Gallipoli or Passchendaele.
They were prepared to go to the absolute limit, to give their lives. They probably knew, even at the time, that they would be killed and that they went anyway. That's how strongly they believed in what they were doing.
Madrid, today a proud city that holds its secrets well. But behind the beauty, the scars of civil war remain.
These are bullet holes left behind from the Spanish Civil War in the 1930s. And it's not too hard to find evidence of that battle, but how many of us know the story of two New Zealanders, Griff McLaurin and Steve Yates, who played a key role in saving the city of Madrid from the fascist forces back in 1936? Their names aren't anywhere, are they?
Their names aren't anywhere, no. I think it's an oversight.
At Auckland Grammar, a team photo of the school's second 15 holds one of the few remaining images of Griff McLaurin, the year 1926.
He grew up in a wealthy, respectable Auckland family. He preferred sport, playing rugby and other sports, to his studies when he was at school, but he turned
Writer Mark Darby has pieced together some of McLaurin's story.
He turned out to have a gift for mathematics.
His name on the Grammar Honours Board marks him out as a star pupil, a talent that would take him to Cambridge University.
He was a gifted student, but he certainly didn't apply himself. He was a party guy. He was well known for dressing up and getting boozed. He was more interested, I think, in the social life and the surrounding political life of the campus than he was in his studies. He barely graduated, actually.
But the gathering of war clouds in Europe would change McLaurin's life completely. 1936, German and Italian bombers are pounding Madrid.
Yeah, a useful rehearsal for World War II for them.
Adolf Hitler is backing the fascist general Franco, who wants to overthrow Spain's new democracy. When he heard the news, Griff decided to act.
People like his peers, they were going over to Spain. It was the thing to do at that time. People from all over Europe and elsewhere were arriving to support the cause of the Spanish Republic at that point. And he saw it as his duty to join them.
With McLaurin in the column of international volunteers was the other Kiwi, Steve Yates, a man whose life remains a mystery, a man so long forgotten, even his photo remains elusive.
We know he fought in the First World War in the British Army. Apparently he was an electrician.
At Madrid University, where the Kiwis dug in, they could fill in some gaps.
We got perhaps the best testimony from John Summerfield, who was this young novelist who travelled with them, and he talks, quite a lot about both of them. He talks about, Yates's experience with the machine guns. He talks about, how cheerful McLaurin was, and again.
The university would become the front line of resistance to Franco, Hitler, and Mussolini.
Must have been about here. They must have taken the Lewis guns from the trucks.
And Yates had used machine guns before.
Yeah, well, he was one of the experts. There you got Yates telling people what to do, explaining all the different pieces, explaining how to clean them, how to put them together, how to use them. And, we've got to think that must have been McLaurin's preparation for what was going to be the next day.
Now, happy with their weapons, the Kiwis explored their new home. We're walking in McLaurin and Yates's footsteps here.
Wow, they must have been so happy to arrive here. They've been lugging the machine guns and tired, cold. Must have been just dying to lie down.
They had bunked down in the university's philosophy department.
Got this really elegant long corridors with all the radiators and the lights and this incredibly sophisticated lift that they find in there. And this is for them, this is modernity.
And this, Neil Binns believes, is the very room where the Kiwis set up their machine gun.
So around here somewhere the machine gun went?
I guess that when the Lewis guns arrived in the afternoon, they must have set one up here. They must have built up the barricade around the gun, head height, to stop any sniper getting at them.
Up on the roof, Dr. Juan Gonzalez shows me graphic evidence of the lethal danger the Kiwis would face. The old lift mechanism still punched with bullets. So what do Spanish people think of young men who came from places like New Zealand to fight for the Republic?
I believe the arrival of this militia from all over the world had an incredible effect. These romantic international volunteers lifted the spirits of the citizens.
And behind a locked door in the basement, proof of the bravery and ingenuity of these volunteers.
Have a look at what we got here. These all these books that have that are survivors, from the barricades, all of them with their bullets in.
Books stacked up in the windows to stop enemy bullets.
And this has obviously been in a barricade. You can see the bullet, at least one bullet's gone in here. It's called eaten into the book. And what Bernard Knox, who was with the New Zealanders on that, the night of the 8th when they made the barricade up on the 4th floor, he said they discovered very quickly that a bullet can get to page 350. This is a book. I think it's what have we got here? 400 and something. You said the bullet hasn't quite got through, but this is, so this is good enough. This works in a barricade. This will stop the bullet coming.
Of course, the irony of a philosopher's book stopping a fascist bullet would not have been lost on the brigade, would it?
That wouldn't be lost on them. And remember, of course, that McLaurin had his bookstore in Cambridge. He was someone who'd been educated in Auckland University in Cambridge. He was someone who loved his books, and here he was using those books to protect himself, to protect the International Brigaders from fascism.
The irony wasn't lost on General Franco either. Later, fascists would murder the librarian who gave the brigade those books. But the Kiwi stay in this building would be tragically brief. The brigade had a mission in mind. They needed their best men. Next up, for the first time, details of the Kiwis' final hours and how they helped change the course of history.
The two New Zealanders, McLaurin and Yates, getting stuck over there, protecting their comrades.
They came from across the globe, young volunteers ready to fight fascism. And in the Casa de Campo, a wood outside Madrid, the International Brigade made its stand. In that same wood today, a Spanish historian is searching for the spot where 2 New Zealanders died for democracy.
Well, I think they died in this part of the Casa de Campo.
Seba Montero's clue, a photo of the Kiwis' own battalion in the same wood.
The pine trees are very similar in the picture, are very similar to the pine trees we are now standing.
Yates and McLaurin had only been in Madrid for one night when they got the orders to head for the woods.
On the 9th, they were needed urgently. Specialist machine gunners were needed. So Yates, of course, was a specialist machine gunner, was taken, and Paul McLaurin, who'd had such limited experience back at school with machine guns, he was taken as well.
This bridge marked the edge of Madrid and the path to victory for General Franco's rebel army.
And I got a feeling that's when McLaurin and Yates and the machine gunners were called upon to support, to try and drive them back. And they managed to drive them back.
But the Kiwis continued on across the bridge, deep into enemy territory held by Franco's feared Moroccan forces, these Arab troops flown in from North Africa by the Germans.
They didn't speak Spanish, a lot of them, and they were notoriously ruthless. They didn't take prisoners, they knifed them. They knifed the wounded. Yeah, they were very, very feared troops indeed.
The Kiwis were on a crucial mission, one the pair would never return from. And it was only back in Auckland that we found the full story on their final fate.
I've got some stuff that'll surprise you, I hope.
Really?
Yeah.
The man with this fresh evidence, researcher and author Mark Darby. The scene, Auckland University's McLaurin Chapel, built by McLaurin's uncle, industrialist Sir William Goodfellow. We asked Mark to help us uncover what really happened to McLaurin and Yates beyond that bridge, and the answer came back from Scotland.
Amazing material that is what hasn't been published anywhere as far as I'm aware.
It's the memoir of a fellow volunteer, David Mackenzie.
What does he have to say about McLaurin?
He says that he had a splendid capacity for distracting our minds from the more unpleasant realities of life, from the small, kind, ever-laughing face. It would have been difficult to identify him as a military hero, but such he proved to be.
That proof came when the pair crossed the bridge into enemy territory. Their target, a massive building called the White House on the far side of the wood.
The fascists held it and were massing their troops for an attack. A mixed battalion of the International Column attacked them while they were still waiting. McLaurin, with Steve Yates, took their Lewis gun along the right-hand side of the wood. They had no one to carry their ammunition, and McLaurin carried it all, and his rifle as well. He was wounded almost immediately.
Though mortally wounded, McLaurin charged ahead through the wood to kill his attacker.
It was at the far end of the wood that his body was found, dead beneath a tree, with the Moorish sniper he had shot down beside him.
McLaurin's bravery in taking out the sniper would have left the way open for Yates to reach his objective.
Yates continued alone with the machine gun and the ammunition. He was the first to reach the gate at the end of the wood, giving covering fire as our men passed through it. When he was wounded, he propped himself up against a tree and continued to fire his gun, firing from the hip at the Moors around the house, and he was found standing there days later, so riddled with machine gun bullets that his body fell apart when they tried to pick it up.
That's heroism, isn't it?
Yeah. These are both guys who died extraordinarily bravely, under orders, doing what they were, what they were asked to do, to hold the line, for their mates, and they both died in the attempt. That's right.
The interesting thing is that he was in such...
Griff McLaurin still has cousins in his old suburb of Remuera in Auckland. Cam McLaurin, a retired surgeon, says Griff's death was a tragic mystery.
I don't know how much the family knew. I rather doubt whether they knew very much at all.
And we were now able to clear some of it up.
It certainly fills out just exactly what happened to a degree that is quite remarkable all these years later.
Have we remembered them well enough?
Oh, I think the short answer to that is no. All those people who fought to try and help stem Franco's advance in Spain ought to be remembered as much as in the later battles of World War II.
And the actions that they did were pretty decisive, possibly critical in actually holding off Franco's assault.
With his first chance lost, it took Franco more than 2 years to take Madrid.
Had it not been for what Maclaurin did and others like him, but the kind of stand that he and Yates did, holding back Franco's troops, then the Civil War would have been over in a matter of weeks.
So history might have been completely different if, in November 1936, Madrid had not been saved, and been saved on that day, perhaps, by the International Brigaders driving back, and the two New Zealanders, Maclaurin and Yates, getting stuck over there, protecting their comrades.
These guys died in such heroic circumstances, so bravely, and none of us took any notice.
I do find it sad, but I don't think it's too late to remember and to honour their bravery and the reason why they gave their lives in that terrible manner.
Well, you will be pleased to hear that Auckland Boys Grammar is now considering putting the names Maclaurin and Yates on its war memorial, alongside the 700 others from the school who died in battle. Well, next, a godsend or a placebo?
It will change the quality of life to millions of people.
You know, things are possible, you know. I believe. I'm an optimist.
Chrissy Amphlett is the hardcore Aussie queen of rock. Now, offstage, she's bravely fought the big fight against alcohol and drugs, but she wasn't quite so fearless in the face of the cruel and chronic brain and spinal cord disease, multiple sclerosis. Now, 7 years later, she claims to be winning again, courtesy of a revolutionary, controversial and unproven procedure, which has changed her life and offered hope to millions of others. Here's Ronnie Sadler.
1, 2, 3.
I fell into the bottle, washed up on the shore of his private island. He was waiting at the door. Little girl, you need something to believe in. Little girl, here's what I know. Higher you go, harder, 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 harder it gets.
All right, let's go and do this.
Chrissy Amphlett is on her way to hospital for a controversial new treatment. Multiple sclerosis has ravaged her body since symptoms first appeared 14 years ago.
Where I think it began, when I was doing The Boy from Oz, when I would hit that last note of Judy Garland, my leg would start to shake, and I just thought it was nerves.
Had a few hours sleep.
It wasn't until about 2005, I was walking along the street, I was walking along 19th Street. It was very hot, and I couldn't walk. All of a sudden, my body shut down, and I had a lot of trouble putting one leg in front of the other. Sometimes you get pretty down. Sometimes you think, well, it's better off me being dead than going through this. I mean, it really gets you down. I think there's a really high suicide rate with people with MS, right? Because you just get sick of it.
Two decades since her diagnosis, this is daily life for Vicky Costa. At 20, she started getting blurred vision and tingling down one leg.
When you had the diagnosis, were you relieved to have a diagnosis or were you devastated?
No, devastated. Devastated. Yeah. Worst thing I ever heard in my life. I last walked when I was 30, which is almost 12 years ago.
If you had to explain to somebody who doesn't have MS what the worst parts about MS are, what would you tell them?
Not having any hope for a cure.
But here in Italy, there is a new hope. I've come to meet Dr. Paolo Zamboni, a vascular surgeon. In 2008, he devised a radical treatment after his wife Elena was struck down by MS. Paolo Zamboni wasn't prepared to just accept his wife's diagnosis of MS or her seemingly hopeless future. Instead, he applied his scientific training and experience to finding out all he could about one of life's most baffling diseases.
A disease like this in family is very heavy.
You can see the blockage right there.
Yes, exactly here.
Dr. Zamboni discovered most patients with MS had blockages in the veins in their neck. His theory was that because the blood was not circulating properly, deposits of iron were building up in the brain, becoming toxic and attacking the nerves. His method is to unblock the veins using a tiny balloon threaded up via a vein in the groin. His first patient was his wife. The results were incredible.
It brings a big smile to your face.
Oh, yes.
Other patients, like these, followed. Everyone has found improvement.
For me, it's very difficult to walk. Now I dance, and it's fantastic. I have a heart full of happiness.
But the blocked vein theory contradicts everything the medical establishment believes. Most neurologists dismiss Zamboni's apparent success as mere placebo. Patients just think they're getting better. The treatment's so new, there haven't been large clinical trials to back up his view.
As a scientist, I need of a study capable to prove this.
And if the studies bear out what you found so far, how much of a difference could it make to millions of people around the world?
It will change the quality of life to millions of people.
You know, things are possible, you know. I believe. I'm an optimist.
Patients like Chrissy Amphlett aren't willing to wait.
It's been something I've wanted to do, for over a year now. I wake up in the morning and everything hurts, and sometimes it feels like I have a python that's wrapping around my body and squeezing my body. It's the weirdest. Sometimes I feel like a big shark is biting me on my shoulder. They say that I will be in a wheelchair in 4 years.
Unblocking the veins seems not only to alleviate the symptoms of MS, but to stave off further damage.
Do you want a hand? Yeah, I'll just take your arm. We'll go down this way, it'll be easier.
Well, after the break, the prognosis for rocker Chrissy Amphlett.
Yeah, you've put on weight. Your face is filled out a bit. You look healthy.
It's good.
You're sexy again.
Oh, thank you.
I knew that would make you happy.
Yes.
It's 7 years since rocker Chrissy Amphlett was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Now she's in an Italian surgery and about to undergo a radical and unproven treatment she hopes might just change her life. Rani Sadler picks up our story.
Chrissy will be awake throughout the 3-hour procedure.
I'm very excited to know that I feel that I'm going to get some symptomatic relief from this.
She's hoping for a result like Kerry Cassidy,
All right, how much have we got?
a Melbourne accountant and mum. This is home video of the spasms Kerry suffered before hearing of Dr. Zamboni's blocked vein theory.
When it was explained that people have had blocked jugular veins, I actually went, wow, that's amazing, because I have this stiff neck and I get pain in here. And I thought, I kind of was second guessing. I didn't want to get really excited and go, oh yeah, this is it. But I thought, hey, that actually makes sense to me.
On the 11th of March 2010, Kerry took a chance. She was the second Australian to try the operation.
The next day I got out of bed and opened the curtains and I went, I almost need, I was saying to the kids, look outside, it's so blue, look at the trees. Oh my God, everything was so clear. And I was just sitting in the room just going, is this me? Is this because I want to see this? Right? I didn't realise how much my vision had been affected by the MS.
I've just walked out of the operation. It was a really great experience. And I know it sounds weird. I'm a bit knocked out. I'm a bit blown away from what's happened. I've had cameras up inside me. I've had veins opened that was stenosed. I've got the biggest jugular vein he's ever seen.
There is, as yet, no scientific proof of Dr. Zamboni's theory. For sufferers like Vicky, it's too late. As the disease progresses, the damage cannot be reversed.
Everyone have a go at the punching bag. Don't let go of it, Dom.
Her old self is just a distant memory.
Oh, look, I'm not holding.
Does that surprise you?
Yeah, I feel like telling her, hold on, you're going to fall. I haven't taken time to play these, so yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, I wanted to protect her, not to fall. And it's me, so yeah, it's weird. I have suppressed a lot. I've been too busy being strong.
Good evening. So how are you feeling now compared to how you felt before you had the treatment?
Well, it's 8 weeks now, and I have got my motivation back. I don't have the fritzed, nervous feeling running through my body. I am now walking 8 blocks, whereas before I was walking 1 block. But I just am really starting to feel like I can look into the future again and have a life, and I can possibly have a job.
And on a night not long ago, Chrissy took to the stage with Cold Chisel, performing again.
I feel very grateful because I think I took my body for granted before, but all of a sudden it's been like, I don't think I'm going to be in a wheelchair in 3 or 4 years. I know I'm not.
You said to me, I'd already lost my voice. Over and over and over I struggled with my choice.
I'm still getting stronger all the time, but like I've got weight on now.
Yeah, you've put on weight. Your face has filled out a bit. You look healthy.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, sexy again.
Oh, thank you.
I knew that would make you happy.
Yes.
Little girl.
I think we got it.
I think we did.
I think we did.
Nice work.
You love her reaction to being called sexy again. It's estimated MS affects 4,000 New Zealanders, 1 in every 1,000 people. Next, our very own homegrown spaghetti western. And you won't believe this, the NZSO flash mobbing at the Wellington railway station. Inspired by spaghetti westerns of the 60s and 70s, the movie Good for Nothing has been dubbed the world's first Pavlova western. It was shot entirely in New Zealand and proves Kiwi ingenuity is alive and well. Pete Cronshaw takes us on a spirited ride into the Wild West and introduces 2 young Kiwis who sacrificed everything to pursue their childhood dream.
A breathtaking mix of spectacular scenery and sound. This Kiwi-style spaghetti western, full of gunfights, galloping horses, and a bizarre sexual tension between a desperado and beautiful captive, is testimony that you can achieve anything if you're willing to sacrifice everything.
You were amazing. You were so amazing.
Mike Wallace, no real formal training, is the writer-director.
I'm a 35-year-old Kiwi. I haven't left the country yet for my OA or anything like that. I've got practicality and adaptability running through my bones.
Mike's fiancée, Inga Rademeyer, no formal training, is the producer and lead actress.
Have you always wanted to act?
Yes.
Really?
I just haven't always had the guts to admit it.
Why were you afraid to admit it?
I think it's the moment you admit it, you have to actually go for it.
Making your own movie. It's one of those alluring childhood fantasies that the starry-eyed couple have turned into a reality by sacrificing their life savings.
We were both working at Weta Digital for a long time, and we thought the responsible thing to do would be to buy a house because we were earning good money.
The house of their dreams was an affordable do-up in the Wellington suburb of Melrose.
We had put offers on 3 houses and they had all fallen through. And so on the last house, we decided after we found out that we didn't get it to go for a drive up to have a look at it again.
And we both looked at it and we were actually feeling relief and not disappointment.
I said to Inga, I don't really want to buy a house. And Inga was like, me neither.
And Mike said, I want to make movies. And I said, yeah, me too.
So we said, let's do it, you know, let's really do it. And that was the key moment.
In an industry that can count millions as loose change, Mike and Inga had set themselves the seemingly impossible task of making a feature film with just $60,000 in their pocket.
We felt that if we put everything into it and we ended up homeless and on the street, that we still had enough time and each other to make it all back and, you know, start again.
Was there an element of naivety?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think it actually worked to our benefit, you know. You have to work with what you've got, and naivety is something that we had, you know.
A bit fresh this morning?
It is fresh.
Yeah.
That naivety/drive/determination caught the eye of Jamie Selkirk.
I think he's got a lot of talent.
Selkirk, if you don't know, teamed up with Peter Jackson on Lord of the Rings and walked away with an Oscar.
This is certainly a great honour. Thank you to the Academy.
Give a person an opportunity and they can blossom from there. And look at what Peter's done, you know, he's just gone from strength to strength. With any luck, Mike might be the next young talent that's coming through.
It also caught the ear of one of New Zealand's greatest composers, John Passathis.
Mike and Inga are
probably the most inspiring people I've met in the last decade. You know, it's just a matter of getting a lot of fullness, you know, in the bottom end. They're honourable. They have incredible integrity. They're entirely positive in their outlook on things, and they are the most phenomenal problem solvers, and probably the most incredible problem solvers I've ever met.
Not content on making any old movie, Mike and Inga wanted to throw away the rule book and be the first in New Zealand to make a spaghetti western, or pavlova western as they like to call it.
If you're making an independent film, you know, you try and not do a period piece.
Lovely day, Inga.
It is. Try and not work with animals or children. You try, you know, all these things to keep it contained, keep it cheaper, keep it easier. We kind of blew all of that out of the water and just went, yes, we're making a western.
This is a national treasure, this building. It's an old mining hut.
One of the key decisions around making a western as well was that being, you know, low, no budget film was where can you get great production value, and in New Zealand you can get out of the landscape.
Central Otago's panoramic backdrop might have been free, but stretching the shoestring meant turning your hand to new and novel things. For Mike, that meant a year at the gun club, learning the intricacies of black powder revolvers.
So I actually included a scene of this in the actual movie. You get the idea of the palaver these guns.
So you clearly like a bit of authenticity.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I think the more it's based in reality, the more believable it is.
The loading process looks dangerous, but that's how they did it in the old days, and everything is safe until the firing cap goes on.
Push hard, real hard, real hard. That's it. Yeah.
It takes a skilled gunslinger 5 minutes to load one of these, and a little longer for someone like me.
It's only been an hour, we're doing well.
I do feel strange pointing one of these up straight at my head.
Mike, the film director, also became on-set armourer, the man in charge of all the guns on location.
How much do you reckon that saves you?
Oh, a ton of money. Gotta sound tough when I'm doing it. Oh!
It also helped him add a touch of reality to his Wild West gunfights.
I wanted the real deal there, and also to have lots of smoke. And you know, as you see when these things fire, they give off a lot of smoke.
And how much did that influence your storytelling?
A lot, because I understood the guns so much. And when you're actually firing them, you understand, you know, you can smell the smoke. It's easily related to relate yourself to the characters of what they would have been going through.
Scene 7, Charlie, take 2. All right.
It took 2 years of planning and 6 weeks of shooting to get their feature-length film in the can.
I'm picking the house deposit. It didn't go far.
You're right.
You're right.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So there must have been a fair bit of begging.
Yeah, begging,
borrowing.
Yeah.
Stealing?
No stealing.
We borrowed one traffic cone once, but we put it back.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Shoot done, their money gone, long gone. Mike and Inga were forced to return to their day jobs. It would take another 4 long years to get their indie labour of love onto the big screen.
It was way more challenging than I thought it was going to be. The ups are really ups and the downs are really down.
How taxing was it on your relationship? Did you nearly break up?
Well, in some ways, it brings you a lot closer as well, because you're sharing
come on! Drop the PR spin.
No, it does. It totally does.
There were times, absolutely, we want to pull each other's hair out, just like, frustration. But I don't think it was ever a question about whether it was putting the relationship on the line.
Desperate for cash to finally finish the film, the couple approached the New Zealand Film Commission.
Yeah, no, it is.
Sadly, they didn't have an appetite for pavlova westerns, but Jamie Selkirk did.
You know, Peter had the same situation. He was making his first movie, you know, Bad Taste, and he had gone to the Film Commission several times to try and get money, and they kept on saying, no, go away, this is a home movie, we're not interested in that sort of thing. So I said, yeah, OK, well, we'll put some money out for post-production, get it completed so you can get it up there on the big screen.
How much does it cost you?
Well, I think it ended up being around about 280,000.
It was like a trumpet sounding. It was amazing. It was really amazing.
We'll walk a while, my horse is tired.
Mike and Inga's quirky western is essentially about a trigger-happy outlaw who's desperate to have his wicked way with a pretty English captive.
I'm not going to run.
Unfortunately, the lovesick cowboy suffers from erectile dysfunction and is in need of a cure.
Do you like the movie?
Yeah, of course I do. I think it's one of those things that's a little bit sort of unique.
We try acupuncture. A which? Needle.
So he's put that. So he's got a nice little Kiwi slant about this sort of the humour, which I think make people laugh. Some of the shootouts are so funny. There's the tracker guy in the river, and that's just like a tennis match. You know, that was kind of cool. Guns do run out of bullets, you know, and you never ever sort of see them reloading. At least in Mike's movie, you see the real way of doing it.
Look at the cuts.
It was that Kiwi humour that also attracted composer John Passathis.
Yeah, all that sort of stuff. I laughed a lot, and I felt like I would be able to bring something to it. You know, I would be able to turn those feelings, those really strong emotions, that big heart that the film has, into music somehow. I'd find a way of expressing that through music. So we're getting into the kind of action-y stuff now for a while.
John Passathis found international fame after composing the music for the 2004 Olympics. Since then, there have been repeated requests for him to write movie scores, but this is the first time he's ever said yes.
Hey, that's great, Joe. Oh, it was really good fun. It was fun all the way, but hard fun.
What did you get out of it?
The biggest thing I got out of doing this is that I have something that I'm incredibly proud of.
I'm picking you haven't made a lot of money. Because there weren't a lot of bucks there to be given out.
Money was definitely not part of the equation for it. But, you know, that's a testament to the film and the people behind the film that, you know, I didn't care about any of that.
In the last year, there's been red carpet premieres in America and rave reviews during international festival screenings. But financial rewards are still to come.
Have you made any money out of it yet?
No. We're still losing money. Still losing money.
Gosh. I'm not sure when that tide turns. Yeah. We'll see.
The truth be known, creators and crew are all waiting for their pay date.
Same as you did before, just turning around and riding off.
So the crew's been waiting 4 years to be paid?
Well, I mean, the crew aren't sort of demanding. They're awesome people, so they're sitting there waiting for it to come out and to hopefully be a success. And then if it goes well, you know, hopefully eventually they'll get paid. Yeah.
Does that weigh heavily on you?
It does. I mean, when we take it seriously, we want to pay them because they did such an awesome job, and so hopefully if it goes well, then everyone will walk out happy as Larry.
They could have been your average suburban couple, but they wanted more, much more, and they're determined the spirited ride into the world of movie making won't be their last.
Hold this.
Would you do it all again?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's not for the faint-hearted at all. I mean, they're massive risks, but obviously, you know, you do it because you love it, really. Well, that's why we do it.
It's an itch, you know, that I definitely want to keep scratching.
So looking forward to seeing that. Good for Nothing will be in cinemas from May the 3rd. Well, we'd love to hear your thoughts on our stories tonight, so do go to our Facebook page. Ka mutu te mahi naene, that's nearly it from us, but before we go, something kind of special, as we promised, from the Pavlova Western, the NZSO in a flash mob at Wellington Railway Station. It was a promotion for their soundtrack, Good for Nothing. Enjoy. Hei kona.